Chapter 6. The first great revival of spiritual energy. As the process of evolution begins, he falls into a deep sleep once again, this time for a much longer period. The scene shifts to the land of Blue Star, where thick, dark clouds are gathering in the sky all over the world. Thunder and lightning roar as they rage, and countless humans and animals gaze up in awe at the violent storm above. Soon, raindrops begin to fall, but the rain is an unusual light green color. As it hits the ground, the earth shakes violently. Massive earthquakes and landslides are happening all over the globe. To the people of Blue Star, it seems like a large earthquake. But the staff at the space station detect something far stranger. They discover that the entire planet is growing larger, and this growth is visible to the naked eye. World leaders receive the news immediately. Some leaders rejoice, thinking about how their country's land area will expand, and how the resources available will increase. But other leaders fall into deep thought. How much larger will Blue Star become? If it grows too large, it might escape the sun's gravitational pull, leading to the extinction of all life on the planet. If it only grows 2 or 3 times larger, there's no immediate threat. But what does this kind of planetary enlargement mean for the future? In the Kyoto conference room of the Dragon Kingdom, national leaders are having a serious discussion about the next steps. At that moment, 3 young people enter. One of them is the young beauty from last time. "Chief, we've obtained some important information. Please take a look," says the young woman. "It's Xiaoya. Please sit down." The chief gestures as he takes the document. The chief quickly reads through the contents, his expression shifting with each page. After finishing, he hands the document to the elderly man sitting beside him. "Take a look as well," the chief sighs. Soon, everyone in the conference room has read the document, and the room falls into deep silence. Finally, the chief breaks the silence. "Xiaoya, let's hear your thoughts first." "Yes, chief," Xiaoya responds. "A small portion of the information concerns animal mutations or evolutionary atavism, but most of it is within manageable limits. The uncontrollable factor is the sea creatures. However, as long as we avoid the sea, they pose little threat to us." The rest of the documents analyze the global rainfall and the enlargement of Blue Star. The room's attention shifts to Xiaoya as everyone waits for her explanation. Clearing her throat, she continues. "First, regarding the global rainfall. After testing, we discovered that the rain contains special energy. This energy benefits animals, plants, and the earth itself, and humans can also draw energy from this rain. As for the changes we'll experience, we'll need to observe further. Now, about the Blue Star enlargement. We estimate that Blue Star will at least double in size. The earthquakes we've felt around the world are a direct result of the planet's growth." As Xiaoya finishes, the leaders fall into deep thought again. Chief number 2 speaks up. "I suggest we focus on stabilizing the population, ensuring their safety and daily needs are met. Local governments and military forces must help the people through this crisis." Seconded. Seconded? Several leaders agree. Chief number 1 nods. "This is necessary. Our top priority is the protection of our people. Additionally, we must quickly organize disaster relief funds and supplies, ensuring military and police coordination to prevent civil unrest." "Yes, Chief." Finally, Chief number 1 adds, "We must also closely monitor the changes brought by this rainfall. I have a feeling this will play a crucial role in humanity's future." Xiaoya and the others stand, nodding. "Understood, Chief. We'll take care of it." The chief smiles warmly at her and waves them out. Xiaoya is the niece of Chief number 1, and he has always doted on her. However, she has more than lived up to his expectations. A model of excellence in both character and academics, Xiaoya is now a leading biological scientist in the country. Though Chief number 1 holds great power, at home he is a loving grandfather. Meanwhile, deep beneath the sea, Lu Feng remains unaware of the events unfolding on the surface. After several hours of slumber, he finally awakens. His size has not diminished. In fact, it has slightly increased, now measuring 12 meters in length. His body is now covered in glowing blue lines that pulse with his breath. "Damn, what have I evolved into? A monster?" Lu Feng exclaims, surprised. He quickly checks his property page. Name: Lu Feng. Species: Phantom Octopus. Bloodline: rare, lower grade. Gender: male. Age: 1 month, 10 years. Status: infancy. Weight: 400 kilograms, 1,000 kilograms. Strength: 4,000 kilograms, 10,000 kilograms. Speed: 7 meters per second, 15 meters per second. Defense: 400 kilograms endurance, 1000 kilograms endurance. Skills: color changing, camouflage, venom, induction, night vision, high pressure water cannon, flash technique. Rebirth, precognition, detection technique, spiritual illusion episode. Energy points, 70. What? The artistic talent is gone, but there's a new spiritual pupil, and there are 2 more skills added. Curious, he focuses on these new skills, and the descriptions appear. Skill: flash technique. Skill type: auxiliary combat skill. Skill description: the body suddenly emits a blinding light that can disorient the enemy for 5 to 10 seconds. Skills are viewable now. Damn, I've been so focused on eating fish and shrimp I forgot to check the property page. Skill: high pressure water gun. Skill type: combat skill. Skill description: gathers seawater within the body and ejects it through the mouth. The damage is 5 times the user's strength. 5 times? My strength is 4,000 kilograms now, so that means 20,000 kilograms of force. This could pierce steel, Lu Feng thinks, amazed by the potential power. If experts were present, they would say it's not just steel. This force could penetrate a tank. Excited, Lu Feng is eager to test out his new power, but he controls his excitement for now. Let's first check out the talents of this new species, he says, filled with anticipation. Chapter 7. Illusion. Talent name: episode of spiritual illusion. Talent type: auxiliary combat. Talent description: this talent allows the user to create an illusion that traps the enemy. Once the enemy is caught in the illusion, any external disturbance or attack will break the spell and wake them up. It cannot affect creatures with mental power greater than the user's. The cooldown time is 12 hours. It's an illusion, Lu Feng thought, feeling a bit like Tsukuyomi, the famed illusion technique. He then checked several other talents. Among them, regeneration and precognition were passive auxiliary skills. Trace. Regeneration allows rapid healing of injuries and is a common trait of octopuses. Precognition gives the ability to foresee dangers or unusual situations, an incredibly useful talent. The detection technique is another active auxiliary skill, capable of detecting any object or creature. As for his other skills, they are a mix of active and passive. Night vision is passive, while the others, such as high-pressure water cannon and flash technique, are active and have no cooldown time. This means high-pressure water cannon can be used indefinitely as long as there is water. Now that Lu Feng fully understood his new abilities, he couldn't wait to test them out. It's time to try these new skills and talents, he said excitedly. He quickly swam over to a large rock on the seabed. With a deep breath, he released a 5-centimeter thick, 3-meter-long water arrow from his mouth. The speed of the shot was over 1,000 meters per second, the speed of sound underwater. If it had been fired on land, its speed would have been even more impressive. Boom! The water arrow pierced through the rock, traveling through the boulder and continuing into the mud beneath, over 50 meters deep. Holy crap! Is this how powerful it is? Lu Feng exclaimed, astonished. The boulder was more than 5 meters thick, yet the water arrow pierced it and burrowed deep into the seabed. Next, Lu Feng activated his flash technique. A brilliant light erupted from his body, illuminating the surrounding sea for dozens of meters. Everything around him was blindingly bright. So my skills are this powerful? He muttered, surprised by the results. However, his new talent, episode of spiritual illusion, required a suitable subject for testing. Unfortunately, there was no such creature nearby in this part of the sea. The giant ichthyosaur would make a perfect subject, but it's about 20 meters long. It might be too strong for me right now, he thought. Lu Feng decided it was better to wait until he matured further before attempting to challenge it. With that, he returned to his hunting routine, focusing on accumulating energy points. Now he needed to hunt prey that was at least 1 meter long to gain any energy points, as the smaller creatures no longer helped. But with his new skills, particularly flash technique and high-pressure water cannon, it became much easier to take down sharks several meters long. Whenever a shark came within a 100-meter radius, Lu Feng would immediately fire a high-pressure water cannon, instantly killing the target with a single shot. If he spotted a group of fish nearby, he would use flash technique to stun them all, then feast at his leisure. Using these two skills was incredibly efficient. To evolve, Lu Feng needed 1,000 energy points. Therefore, he focused on hunting large fish. The seafood buffet was no longer about small prey. It was about feasting on larger creatures. However, the shallow sea didn't offer many large fish, so he ventured further, moving from the shallow waters to the deep sea, where the biological density was lower, but the fish were much larger. It didn't take long for him to gather 2,000 energy points. The energy points are enough, he thought, but evolving twice in a row will leave me hungry. I should catch some prey first. At that moment, he sensed a large group of bluefin tuna nearby. The larger ones were 3 to 4 meters long, while the smaller ones were 1 or 2 meters long. They say tuna meat is delicious. Let's see how it tastes today, Lu Feng thought excitedly as he chased after the tuna. In less than 2 minutes, he closed the distance and unleashed 12 high-pressure water cannons at the larger tuna. Puff! Puff! All 12 tunas were struck and slowly sank to the bottom. The rest of the tuna school, sensing the danger, quickly swam away. Lu Feng wasn't fast enough to catch up with the others, as his swimming speed on the seabed wasn't as quick as the tunas. Nevertheless, he attached the 12 stunned tuna to his tentacles and made his way to deeper waters. Soon, he arrived at the deep seabed, where few fish dared to venture. Perfect, Lu Feng said as he prepared to evolve. He activated the evolution tree function and clicked to evolve. Ding! Would you like to use 1,000 energy points to grow to adulthood? Yes, Lu Feng confirmed eagerly. The evolution process took 30 seconds. When it finished, he felt a surge of hunger. Ding! Would you like to use another 1,000 energy points to evolve further? Yes, Lu Feng replied without hesitation. In just 1 minute, his size doubled. His hunger grew even stronger, and without checking his updated property page, he immediately began devouring the bluefin tuna in his grasp. Ding! The host devours evolving bluefin tuna and gains 50 energy points. Ding! The host devours evolving bluefin tuna and gains 50 energy points. Lu Feng paused, confused. Wait a second. Evolving bluefin tuna? What does that mean? Are these tuna evolving too? After pondering for a while, he couldn't come up with an answer and decided not to dwell on it. Whatever. More energy points for me. And these evolving tuna are giving me 50 points each. I can't complain. After eating all 12 bluefin tuna, his hunger was mostly satisfied. Not bad at all. These tuna taste great. Lu Feng smacked his lips in satisfaction. Now let's check the property changes. Chapter 8. Fantasy Octopus vs. Giant Ichthyosaurus. Name: Lu Feng. Species: Phantom Octopus. Bloodline: Rare, lower grade. Gender: Male. Age: 1 month, 10 years. Status: Mature stage. Weight: 1,000 kilograms. 1,000 kilograms. Strength: 10,000 kilograms. 10,000 kilograms. Speed: 15 meters per second. 15 meters per second. Defense: 1,000 kilograms. Endurance: 1,000 kilogram endurance. Skills: color changing, camouflage, venom, induction, night vision, high pressure water cannon, flash technique. Rebirth, precognition, detection technique. Episode of spiritual illusion. Energy points: 1,200. All of Lu Feng's attributes had reached their peak. His body was now 25 meters long, larger than most whales. His strength had reached an impressive 10,000 kilograms, the equivalent of 10 tons of power. The thought of combining this with his high-pressure water cannon made him feel nearly invincible. But just as he was reveling in his strength, a sudden wave of danger coursed through him. Instinctively, he moved aside just in time. A dark shadow passed by him, and one of his tentacles was bitten off and taken away. If he hadn't moved, it would have been his head in the creature's jaws. He quickly activated his detection technique. Name: Giant Ichthyosaurus. Bloodline: Return to ancestor, lower level. Gender: Female. Status: Mature stage. Weight: 1,200 kilograms. Strength: 8,000 kilograms. Speed: 30 meters per second. Defense: 2,000 kilograms. Endurance. Skills: crash, tail strike, bite. Talent: deep sea perception. Lu Feng's eyes widened. I drafted it. So it's you, the old monster. How dare you bite me, fake squid! He wasn't looking for the creature. But here it was, delivering itself to his doorstep. Now, he was angry. The giant ichthyosaurus that had successfully attacked was still gnawing on his tentacle. After a few bites, it charged at him again, intent on finishing him off and turning him into a delicious octopus sashimi. Just as the giant ichthyosaur neared him, Lu Feng's octopus eyes began glowing with blue light. The ichthyosaur's vision flickered, and suddenly, it found itself in the middle of a vast desert. Breathing became difficult. The creature struggled to move, but the more it fought, the worse it felt. For what seemed like dozens of minutes, it fought desperately, but in reality, only a moment passed. The illusory desert drained all of its strength, and it eventually lost consciousness, slumping into a brain-dead state. "That's it? You're not even a challenge?" Lu Feng chuckled darkly. Usually, fish had never seen a desert, let alone felt its suffocating heat. But Lu Feng, as a human in another life, understood exactly how uncomfortable it was. Dragging the ichthyosaur into this illusion was far worse than killing it outright. Meanwhile, Lu Feng's severed tentacle was slowly regenerating, and he moved in on the incapacitated ichthyosaur. "I thought we were going to fight for hours, but you're just pathetic," Lu Feng sneered. Then he began devouring the massive body of the giant ichthyosaurus. With its 20-meter-long body, he had to consume it piece by piece. Ding! The host devours giant ichthyosaurus and gains 150 energy points. Ding! The host devours giant ichthyosaurus and gains 150 energy points. Sure enough, powerful creatures provided more energy points. After devouring about 1/3 of the ichthyosaur's body, Lu Feng's hunger was satisfied, and his energy points had risen to 2,700. It seemed the ichthyosaur's carcass would last for at least 2 more meals, so he wasn't in any rush to hunt again. With his full belly, Lu Feng dived deeper into the seabed, carrying the ichthyosaur's body with him. He found a quiet underwater cave and opened the evolutionary tree function to see what was next for him. Since he had already reached the mature stage of the phantom octopus, the next step was to evolve into a more powerful form. There were 4 possible options in the 4th stage, all of them different types of octopuses. 1. The bewildered giant octopus, the largest form, around 50 meters. 2. The soul-eating octopus, the smallest, less than 5 meters. 3. The fighting demon octopus, another massive creature, over 30 meters. 4. The phantom octopus, his current form, which emitted an eerie blue light. His eyes lingered on the lost giant octopus, the largest of the bunch. But when he clicked to see more details, the system presented an obstacle. Ding! You have met the requirements to evolve into the lost giant octopus, but your energy points are less than 10,000. Evolution is not possible. What? It needs 10,000 energy points to evolve? Lu Feng fumed. You've got to be kidding me. Even evolving from infancy to youth required 10,000 points. Looking at his current total of 2,700 energy points, he sighed. Looks like I'm still a poor guy. I can't even get this evolution started yet. He gave the system a scornful look. Thanks for the taste of what it's like to work for my upgrades. With no immediate plans for evolution, Lu Feng spent the next couple of days hiding in the cave, devouring the ichthyosaur carcass when hunger struck. The rest of the time, he either slept or studied the system. "Oh, we've run out of food again," Lu Feng muttered, feeling frustrated. By this point, his energy points had reached 6,200, nearly enough for his next evolution. Eager to explore, he swam out of the cave, only to notice that the sea had changed dramatically. The sea appeared vast and unfamiliar. Strange creatures, some from ancient times, swam around him. Plesiosaurs, saw-toothed sharks, prehistoric squids, and more. Shit! Am I suddenly in the classic of mountains and seas? Lu Feng muttered in disbelief. Just then, another feeling of danger surged through him. Without hesitation, he swam deeper into the sea to avoid it. A massive python appeared, its body nearly 3 meters thick and hundreds of meters long. The python had 2 horns on its head, looking like it was on the brink of becoming a dragon. Lu Feng immediately fired several high-pressure water cannons at it and fled without looking back. "No way in hell am I fighting that beast! Just get out of my way!" he shouted as he swam away at full speed. Chapter 9. The wild growth of sea creatures. The giant python had been wounded by the high-pressure water cannon shots, but it also bought Lu Feng enough time to escape its pursuit. Diving back to the ocean floor, Lu Feng's heart raced. What's happening in the sea above? I've only been gone for 2 days, but so much has changed. Damn, I was planning to step out and claim the title of king. But now I might just be lucky to survive. It wasn't that Lu Feng was being cowardly. There were not only the giant python to contend with, but many other monstrous sea creatures lurking in the area. Even if he managed to defeat the python, he would still be injured. What if more giant beasts banded together and attacked? Better to lay low and develop for now. After formulating his plan, he activated his camouflage ability, blending into the seafloor like a rock. I was born to be the 6th child. No one does it better than me, Lu Feng muttered to himself with a sneer. As an octopus, he was a natural master of disguise, and his hunting method was second to none. He could capture prey with ease and speed. He slowly crept along the seabed. Whenever a suitable target appeared, he would strike with his high-pressure water cannon. If a creature looked too dangerous, he would simply move away. Though this method slowed down his accumulation of energy points, it ensured his safety. Patience was key. There was no need to rush. But what had happened to the ocean life in the area? Was the planet he was reborn on really still Blue Star? I need to find a way to get to the shore and check it out. As his energy points accumulated to 10,000, Lu Feng didn't immediately evolve. Instead, he continued to gather more. Most of his targets so far were small fish and shellfish. Creatures larger than 10 meters were generally beyond his reach, unless they discovered him first. Wait, is that a clam? Lu Feng spotted a massive shell ahead. Over 10 meters long? A giant clam? He couldn't help but be surprised. The clams he'd seen before were only a few dozen centimeters long, but this one was enormous. Here we go! 5 blasts from his high-pressure water cannon pierced the giant clam's shell in an instant. In agony, the clam opened its enormous mouth and tried to flee. But it was too slow. Running away? Not a chance! Lu Feng's tentacles shot out and grabbed the clam, pulling it back toward him. The clam snapped its shell shut in a futile attempt to protect itself. Several more blasts from his high-pressure water cannon shattered its shell, exposing its soft interior. Bang! 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 Lu Feng's tentacles struck the clam's flesh, tearing it apart and killing it on the spot. Time to eat! Open black lens bracket. Ding! The host gains 100 energy points from consuming the mutated tridacna. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Ding! The host gains another 100 energy points from consuming the mutated tridacna. Close black lens bracket. Nice! That's a lot of energy points. Lu Feng smiled. The giant clam had provided at least 3,000 energy points. A nice haul. But just as he was about to relax, his precognition talent went off, sending a sharp sense of danger into his mind. He quickly blended into the color of the seabed and released his sensor. A massive blue dragon swam overhead. What the hell? A Kanglong? This is a joke! Lu Feng was horrified. If the giant python had been terrifying, this creature was on a whole different level. The Kanglong was several times larger than the ancient ones. Detection. Name: mutated Kanglong, bloodline. Mutated atavism, medium. Gender: female status. Mature weight: 30 tons power, 100 tons speed, 30 meters per second defense, 50 tons endurance skills, crash, tail strike, bite, death roll talents, behemoth coercion, deep sea lord. Oh hell no! This guy's stats are measured in tons? Lu Feng exclaimed, reading its attributes. His high-pressure water gun could deal 50 tons of damage, just enough to break its defenses. But it was risky. The only attack that might work was his episode of spiritual illusion. Forget it. This guy is untouchable. Even though Lu Feng was curious about the taste of the giant Kanglong and how many energy points it might provide, he knew better than to provoke it. Boom! The sound of an explosion interrupted his thoughts. The mutated Kanglong had collided with another ocean giant, creating a massive shockwave that churned the sea. Lu Feng used his tentacles to latch onto a nearby rock, steadying himself against the turbulent waters. Are you serious? This is insane. How did things get this crazy in just a few days? Lu Feng couldn't believe his eyes. The creature that had collided with the Kanglong was a turtle the size of a small mountain. But it wasn't just any turtle. Its shell was covered in spikes, and it had 2 sharp horns on its head. Detection. Name: Cloud-piercing sky turtle bloodline. Legendary, level 2. Gender: male. Status: adolescence. Weight: 40 tons. Power: 100 tons. Speed: 20 meters per second. Defense: 200 tons. Endurance. Skills: crash, claw strike, bite, rebound. Damage: shocking roar. Talents: behemoth. Coercion, immortality, frenzy. Good grief, these creatures are getting more monstrous by the minute. Alright, I'm outta here, Lu Feng muttered to himself. If those two collided with him, he'd be done for. The battle between the two giants was intense, with the sea violently shaking. The underwater mountains cracked, and weaker creatures in the area fled in panic. The giant turtle let out a deafening roar, its attack sending the Kanglong reeling, blood pouring from its body. The Kanglong, badly injured, lashed out with its tail and managed to escape the turtle's grasp, fleeing in the opposite direction. Though the giant turtle was powerful, it wasn't very fast, and it couldn't catch up to the Kanglong. All it could do was roar in fury. The Kanglong swam for over 10 minutes, completely drained of energy, and finally sank to the deep sea. Nearby, a large rock the size of a small house lay just 20 meters away. Two small eyes appeared at the top of the rock. Should I approach or stay hidden? That is the question, Lu Feng wondered, debating his next move. Chapter 10. Overlord of the Sea. That's right. The direction of escape for the mutated Kanglong is the same as where Lu Feng escaped, and this earth-colored rock is him. The distance between them is now less than 10 meters. As long as he takes action, he will definitely be able to attack the other side. But he didn't know what state the other party was in right now. If it was just a minor injury, he would be doomed. But this big piece of pie has fallen in front of him. If he doesn't take a bite, it would be a real shame. Lu Feng used his induction skill to carefully scan the physical condition of the mutated Kanglong. He found multiple injuries and huge wounds, with blood still flowing. There were 2 fatal injuries, and even if Lu Feng didn't act, the mutated Kanglong wouldn't survive much longer. Now he had 2 choices. 1, sneak attack the creature for a chance at fortune. The other, wait until it fully dies before picking up the spoils. Though the second option was safer, what if the creature somehow recovered? Then the chance would be lost. MD, you can find wealth in danger. Fight for it. Lu Feng made up his mind. Boo-hoo! Dozens of high-pressure water cannons were fired at the multiple wounds of the mutated Kanglong. This time, he didn't hold back. He attacked with all his strength. Roar! Tilda! The mutated Kanglong, who had just fallen into a deep sleep, was woken up by Lu Feng's attack. Its original wounds were aggravated, and the blood from the injuries couldn't stop flowing out. This made it furious. It looked at the octopus in front of it and lunged to bite it. Flash technique! Wow! The intense light blinded the Kanglong's eyes, making it temporarily blind. Boo-hoo! More high-pressure water cannons rained down on the Kanglong, leaving bloody holes all over its body. Ho ho ho, Tilda! At this point, the Kanglong, in a blind rage, was biting at everything: seabed, rocks, soil, anything it could reach. Shabby! You can't see anymore. Die for me, Lu Feng said excitedly. Boo-hoo! The high-pressure water cannons kept blasting, and the 10 seconds quickly passed. The Kanglong gradually regained its sight. It glared at Lu Feng above it, furious, wishing it could tear him apart. With a swish, the blue dragon rushed up and swallowed Lu Feng in one gulp. Its anger was finally satiated, but at that moment, countless giant octopuses appeared beside the Kanglong, stunning it. Hadn't it just swallowed the other one? Why were there so many more? The Kanglong continued to devour these octopuses. But when it became too exhausted, it could no longer fight back and just lay there, too tired to move. It allowed the swarm of octopuses to attack with water cannons. Soon, it fell silent, its life extinguished. Lu Feng looked at the mutated Kanglong, now lifeless, and knew it was truly dead. From the moment the mutated Kanglong had been struck by his flash technique, it had fallen into Lu Feng's illusion. But the illusion had been so realistic that the Kanglong couldn't understand what was happening. Lu Feng swam over to the mutated Kanglong and struck a pose. Ninetails captured successfully. He picked up the posture and tone from a certain showman, but the creature was so large that he couldn't drag it away. He could only set up camp on the spot. Open black lens bracket. Ding. The host devours mutated Kanglong and gains 1,000 energy points. Close black lens bracket. Oh, tilde. Oh my god, this one bite adds 1,000 energy points. It's so cool, Lu Feng exclaimed, happily munching on the Kanglong's flesh. 10 minutes later, he was full, picking a slender bone to use as a toothpick. Not bad, not bad. Tastes great. As they say in the stupid lighthouse country, it's really good, Lu Feng hummed joyfully. Having consumed only 1/20th of the Kanglong's body, his energy points soared to 46,500. It was enough to evolve and grow, but with so much Kanglong meat, he really didn't want to stop. By the way, don't I have the system backpack? Let's see if it works. His consciousness sank into the system, and he accessed the system backpack, selecting the option to use it. Open black lens bracket. Ding! Are you sure you want to collect the corpse of mutated Kanglong? This item takes up 20 spaces in your backpack. Close black lens bracket. Sure! In an instant, the massive Kanglong corpse turned into a stream of light and entered his head. At this moment, there were 3 items in the system backpack. They were the mutated Kanglong corpse, bloodline enhancement potion, and talent enhancement potion. The bloodline enhancement potion and talent enhancement potion each took up 1 space, while the mutated Kanglong corpse occupied 20 spaces. Lu Feng's backpack had a total of 50 spaces. Haha, this guy is clever. The Kanglong corpse was enough energy for his next evolution. He found another submarine cave, drilled into it, and began the evolution process. He was faced with another dilemma, choosing which of the 4 evolutionary paths to take. Ultimately, he chose the Phantom Octopus path, as it was the closest to his current species. They all had some magical ability, so it couldn't go wrong. Open black lens bracket. Ding! You have met the requirements to evolve into Phantom Octopus. Would you like to spend 10,000 energy points to evolve? Close black lens bracket. Yes! Evolve! Suddenly, a surge of energy entered his body, and he fell into a deep sleep once more. This time, the evolutionary sleep lasted even longer, taking a full 3 days and nights. During these 3 days, Blue Star had changed dramatically. Dragon Kingdom's fortress plan had been launched promptly, and 5 giant fortresses were built across the country. Each fortress could accommodate 500 million people. The walls were hundreds of meters high and made entirely of steel. A large stockpile of weapons, ammunition, and supplies had been stored in each fortress. At the same time, the methods of Dragon Kingdom were being adopted by various countries, though smaller and less developed nations couldn't afford to build such steel fortresses. They were left defenseless as mutated creatures ravaged their people. In the beginning, human weapons were able to handle most mutant creatures, but over time, more massive and legendary creatures emerged. Creatures that thermal weapons could no longer damage. Nuclear bombs could inflict damage but couldn't kill these beasts, which only fueled their rage. As a result, powerful nations had to learn from Dragon Kingdom and build their own steel fortresses to defend against mutant creatures. On a brighter note, a very few humans had evolved into evolvers. These evolvers possessed powerful physical abilities, and some had special skills such as elemental control, mental manipulation, and more. Their appearance gave humanity hope for survival, and countries around the world were desperately studying how to help others evolve. When Lu Feng finally awoke from his evolution, he realized he was different. His sensing ability had become passive, and the range had expanded drastically, from 100 meters to an astounding 5,000 meters. Now, with a stronger sense of awareness, he was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead in this rapidly changing world. Chapter 11. Phantom Clone. Open black lens bracket. Name: Lu Feng. Close black lens bracket. Species: Phantom Octopus. Bloodline: Rare level, medium. Gender: male. Age: 1 month, 30 years. Status: infancy. Weight: 2,000 kilograms, 5,000 kilograms. Strength: 20,000 kilograms, 50,000 kilograms. Speed: 50 meters per second, 150 meters per second. Defense: 2,000 kilograms. Endurance: 5,000 kilograms. Endurance. Skills: color-changing camouflage, deadly venom, high-pressure water cannon, flash technique, phantom clone. Talents: regeneration, advanced precognition, detection technique, almighty sensing, episode of spiritual illusion. Open black lens bracket. Energy points: 36,500 close black lens bracket. After reading through his attribute page, Lu Feng was filled with doubt. While his basic attributes had become significantly stronger, his skills and talents had undergone a drastic change. Change and disguise had merged into one, and venom was now simply venom. Precognition had evolved into advanced precognition, and his induction and night vision had combined into the far more powerful almighty induction. This evolution had significantly altered him. He could feel a drastic change, especially in his brain area. Now his sensory talent allowed him to monitor his body at all times. His sensing radius was an impressive 5 kilometers. The information received by his senses was first filtered through his 8 tentacle heads and then sent to his main brain for decision-making. His thinking speed was now many times faster than before. Additionally, his body size had increased from 30 meters to a massive 45 meters. I've also gained a new skill. Let's check it out, Lu Feng said excitedly as he clicked on the Phantom Clone skill. Skill name: Phantom Clone. Skill type: Auxiliary Combat Skill. Skill Introduction: Use one of your tentacles as a medium to condense an unconscious clone. The clone has 1/3 of the original body's attributes and has no skills or talents. The clone is controlled by the original body. If the clone's main brain is destroyed, the clone dies immediately. Currently, you can condense 3 clones. Hell, isn't this the perfect skill for me? Now I can be a qualified 6th former. Haha! Lu Feng laughed joyously. It was better to grow to maturity first, and then begin creating clones. Open black lens bracket. Ding! Would you like to use 10,000 energy points to grow to adulthood? Close black lens bracket. Yes! Open black lens bracket. Ding! Would you like to use 10,000 energy points to grow to adulthood? Close black lens bracket. Yes! Grow me now. 10 seconds later, his size skyrocketed from 45 meters to a terrifying 90 meters. The size was almost comparable to the mutated Kanglong. If he were to face the mutated Kanglong now, he would definitely run away. Yes! You read that right? He would just turn around and flee. His fighting philosophy was clear. Crush. Absolutely crush. Otherwise, he would never take action unless he was sure of victory. What if he encountered the Chosen One? A wave of hunger swept over him, and he immediately pulled out the mutated Kanglong's corpse and began devouring it. Open black lens bracket. Ding! The host devours mutated Kanglong and gains 1,000 energy points. Close black lens bracket. 10 minutes later, he had consumed 1/5 of the mutated Kanglong. As his body grew larger, his appetite had also increased. Ah! The feeling of being full is so comforting, Lu Feng said while rubbing his belly with a tentacle. When he checked his energy points, he found that he now had 66,500 points. However, the next evolution required 100,000 points, so he needed to continue accumulating energy. He estimated that after finishing off this mutated Kanglong, he would gain another 200,000 energy points. Evolving once was enough. But to reach maturity, he still needed a few more points. After some thought, Lu Feng snapped 3 of his tentacles. He suppressed the pain as he formed 3 clones. Young Master has spent all your hard-earned energy, so your avatars better be powerful, he said, referring to the clones. He then extended an intact tentacle and called out, "Phantom Clone!" Suddenly, 3 streams of blue light shot from his tentacles to the 3 broken tentacles. After a few minutes, 3 octopus clones, slightly smaller than him, appeared in the seabed cave. Through his enhanced sensory ability, Lu Feng could feel his clones were directly connected to his consciousness. They were like extensions of his own body, and he could command them to perform any action. All right, let's give you a name, huh? Number 1, number 2, and number 3. Lu Feng, being poor at naming, settled on the simplest choice. He immediately ordered clone number 1 to swim to the northern sea, instructing it to swim all the way north. Lu Feng wanted to test how far his clones could be controlled in order to avoid any unexpected situations. As for number 2 and number 3, he didn't let them sit idle and immediately gave them tasks to perform. He controlled them to complete complex behaviors simultaneously. During these tests, Lu Feng discovered that his clones could not use his skills or talents. They could only perform basic physical attacks, and had only 1/3 of his original attributes and size. Just as described in the skill's introduction. 10 minutes later, Lu Feng felt a painful sensation in his head. MD. Clone number 1 was eaten by a giant beast in the sea. F times skake, Lu Feng muttered, helpless. Clone number 1, which he had worked so hard to condense, was gone. However, through the eyes of clone number 1, he saw a giant shark devouring it. The clones shared the same vision as him, and the giant shark was at least 150 meters long. Since clone number 1 was only 30 meters, it was the perfect prey for the shark. He quickly cut off one of his tentacles, creating a new clone number 1. Clone number 1 had swum north for only 15 minutes, and Lu Feng could still control it as if it were an arm about 15 kilometers away. Looks like we need to continue testing, Lu Feng muttered. He sent his 3 clones swimming in different directions, all while staying vigilant. If any of the clones encountered a more powerful creature, he would record it for future reference. During this time, his broken tentacles also grew back. He could see them regenerating at a remarkable pace. As the clones swam farther away, Lu Feng gathered more information. For instance, he learned that the sea to the north was ruled by a giant great white shark, only 15 kilometers away from him. To the south, there was a giant turtle, likely the one who had defeated the mutated azure dragon, about 50 kilometers away. And in the eastern sea, a giant python had made its home 70 kilometers away. This time, Lu Feng focused on managing his 3 clones, ensuring they avoided danger. When the 3 clones were 500 kilometers away, his control started to weaken. At 600 kilometers, he could only direct them to perform basic actions, unable to command them in combat. At 700 kilometers, he completely lost control of them. Better have the clones hunt for me first, Lu Feng decided. With his skills mastered, he was ready to start his hunting journey. Chapter 12. Who can be more stubborn than me? Lu Feng took his 3 clones to the giant Shark Sea area in the north because there were a large number of shellfish, which were creatures that octopuses love to eat. Moreover, these creatures were not aggressive and focused mainly on defense. It just so happened that Lu Feng's talent was particularly effective against shellfish creatures. As long as he didn't encounter the giant shark, he could experience what it was like to have a shellfish buffet. Ah, Tilde! I smell the scent of shellfish snacks. Sneaky, Tilde! Here they come, Lu Feng said in a playful tone. In an instant, several of his tentacles shot towards the huge shellfish on the seabed, catching 4 shellfish, each about 10 meters in size. Through his senses, Lu Feng could tell that tens of thousands of shellfish were around. If left to their own devices, they would likely grow in numbers and thrive in the area. The shellfish creatures thought they could defend themselves with their tough shells, but they were sorely mistaken. He could easily crush the smaller shellfish by wrapping his tentacles around them. As for the larger ones, a few shots from his high-pressure water cannon would break their shells apart. Suck Tilde! Delicious! Lu Feng happily devoured the flesh of the shellfish. Open black lens bracket. Ding! The host gains 200 energy points by swallowing the mutated oyster. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Ding! The host gains 200 energy points by swallowing the mutated razor clam. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. The host gains 150 energy points by swallowing the mutated scallop. Close black lens bracket. While the shellfish didn't provide many energy points individually, there were so many of them that it added up quickly. At the same time, his 3 clones helped him gather more shellfish, and he simply had to eat them. After over 20 minutes of eating, he leaned back with a satisfied burp. Hoo-hoo! I'm full. Tilde, so comfortable, Lu Feng said lazily. He found a nearby cave to hide in, and directed the 3 clones to continue gathering shellfish. All the shellfish they caught were placed near the cave, ready for when he wanted to eat again. This is life! Isn't it better than the grind of 996 and 955? Time for a nap, Tilde, Lu Feng said as he started to relax. He spent the next 2 days enjoying his peaceful existence. But, as his killings piled up, the scent of blood grew stronger. No matter how hard he tried to cover it up, it couldn't go unnoticed. The giant shark, which ruled the area, soon swam over after picking up the scent. This time, the shark had grown even bigger than before. Now it was nearly 200 meters long, twice Lu Feng's size. Detection technique, name, Ancient mutated great white shark. Bloodline. Mutated atavism. Gender. Female. Status. Adolescence. Weight. 60 tons. Power. 150 tons. Speed. 60 meters per second. Defense. 50 tons. Endurance. Skills. Crash. Tail strike. Deadly bite. Swallow. Talent. Behemoth pressure. This shark's attributes were even better than the mutated Kanglong. Damn it, and it was still young. Lu Feng couldn't afford to fight head-on. Escape was the only option. He immediately directed his clones to scatter and flee in different directions, while his main body stayed hidden in the cave. The ancient mutated great white shark quickly noticed one of the clones and accelerated to chase it. Lu Feng held still, waiting for the perfect moment to act. 3 minutes later, the first clone was caught and eaten by the shark. A sharp pain shot through Lu Feng's mind. The ancient mutated great white shark then started chasing the second clone. Lu Feng couldn't figure out how it had detected the clones, so he continued to guide them to escape as quickly as possible. This chase took a full 9 minutes. Observing the shark's return, Lu Feng deduced that the shark must have used scent to track him. However, the shark's tracking ability had a range limit of around 200 kilometers. As long as he stayed beyond that range, the shark couldn't detect his position. After discovering this, Lu Feng once again ordered his 3 clones to flee in different directions. The shark repeated its pursuit. It caught and killed 1 clone, then moved on to the second. Finally, the 3rd clone made its way back to Lu Feng's main body and served as a real eye to observe the shark's movements from the east. Meanwhile, Lu Feng sped toward the southern sea. 9 minutes later, the 3rd clone spotted the shark returning. Without wasting a second, Lu Feng ordered clone number 3 to run in the opposite direction. The whole sequence of movements was flawless and well executed. After the main body managed to flee 500 kilometers, the shark and the clones were no longer in his detection range. Lu Feng felt a pang of pain as the last clone, number 3, had likely been killed. But Lu Feng wasn't fazed. "Don't let me grow up or you'll regret it," he said coldly as he glared at the northern sea. His energy points had risen by 12,500 in the last 2 days. "Gotta keep gathering more," he said to himself. With the northern sea off limits for now, Lu Feng decided to head toward the python's territory in the east. Pythons were less mobile and relied on body temperature and scent to track prey. They weren't as active as the great white shark, which was a relief for Lu Feng. About an hour later, Lu Feng reached the python's territory. However, he couldn't sense the giant creature anywhere. "Where's this hottie hiding? Isn't he hiding to avoid being found?" Lu Feng mused, scanning the area. He noticed that there were far fewer shellfish here, but plenty of large fish swimming around. "Looks like we're changing the menu. After dessert, here comes the main course," he thought to himself. Yes, I can eat any kind of tuna, sea catfish, mackerel, or sea bass. I don't choose. Hee tilde. He directed his 3 clones to scatter and drive the fish away, while he disguised his main body as a massive rock. Once all the fish were pushed toward the clones, Lu Feng would use his flash technique to blind them. "Who can be more stubborn than me? Gaga tilde." Lu Feng laughed, excited for the hunt to begin. Chapter 13. Deep Sea Green Dragon. 10 minutes later, a large school of fish was herded towards him by 3 of Lu Feng's clones. Slowly, he began to swim upwards. Seeing that the fish hadn't noticed him yet, he suddenly erupted with a brilliant flash of light. The fish, startled by the sudden intensity, panicked and scattered in all directions, flailing like headless chickens. Taking advantage of their confusion, Lu Feng opened his massive mouth, waiting for the fish to swim directly into it. His 8 tentacles moved swiftly, grabbing unconscious fish and shoving them into his mouth. Open black lens bracket ding. The host gains 300 energy points by swallowing mutated mackerel. Close black lens bracket, open black lens bracket, ding. The host gains 300 energy points by swallowing mutated sea bass. Close black lens bracket, open black lens bracket, ding. The host gains 300 energy points by swallowing mutated mackerel. Close black lens bracket. Lu Feng savored the freedom of having a seafood feast. Truly, life in the ocean was far more enjoyable than land-based existence. Thinking about how much effort tigers and bears had to put into catching prey, he marveled at how easily he'd caught a whole school of mutated fish in the blink of an eye. Soon, his hunger was satisfied. But there were still many unconscious mutated fish left. Without hesitation, he killed them with precision and stashed them away in the system backpack. These fish, averaging 2 to 3 meters in size, didn't take up much space in his backpack. After gathering all of them, he took a count. 52,100 energy points had been added to his total. There were still 261 mutated fish left in the backpack. With the accumulated energy, his total reached 17,710 points. Just 120,000 more, and he'd be able to evolve once again. While calculating his energy points, a sense of danger suddenly spiked from the east. The warning felt more precise and clearer than ever before. He could even pinpoint the direction the danger was coming from. Soon he sensed the approach of a giant creature, over 200 meters in length, and with a body more than 10 meters wide. "Damn it! That's not a python, that's a dragon," Lu Feng said in disbelief. The creature wasn't just any snake. It had 3 horns on its head and 6 legs under its body, signaling that it had evolved significantly. The creature resembled one he had encountered earlier. Its body was green, with the same horn pattern on its head. It seemed this beast had also evolved, and in a way that was leading it toward becoming a dragon. Detection technique. Name: Deep Sea Green Dragon. Bloodline: Legend, Level 2. Gender: Mature stage. Weight: 200 tons. Power: 260 tons. Speed: 300 tons. Endurance skills: 100 tons. Endurance skills: Death Coil, Tail Strike, Bite, Life-Destroying Venom, Petrification. Talents: Behemoth Pressure, Deep Sea. I can't believe this! Why are these creatures evolving so much faster than me? What is the system doing? Lu Feng cursed under his breath. The green dragon's speed was an incredible 300 meters per second, making it clear that Lu Feng needed to get away fast. He didn't want to risk being caught and dying once again after having just been reborn. Taking no chances, he summoned all 3 clones and fled westward. Not long after, the deep-sea green dragon arrived at the area where Lu Feng had just hunted. It sniffed the sea air, its expression showing confusion. It patrolled the area for a while before slowly moving away. Lu Feng didn't dare to remain in the vicinity. He swam eastward, maintaining a steady pace, and after 2 hours he began to slow down. It seemed like it was safe for now. His senses then picked up a landmass in the distance, with multiple animals and human villages scattered across it. However, there were no humans in sight. Judging by the architecture of the villages, they looked like the ones from his old world, though now they were overrun by mutant creatures. Sighing, Lu Feng muttered, "It seems like the world is very different from before. No matter what, as long as he could survive, it didn't matter." He had no close family left, and his only relative, his grandfather, had passed away 3 years ago. The only person he truly cared about was Miao Suning, a high school classmate he had always secretly admired. He had never dared to confess his feelings to her, feeling unworthy due to his own circumstances. Miao Suning was not only the daughter of a high-ranking official, but also the class monitor, someone nobody dared to mess with. She was kind, righteous, and stood up for him in ways that no one else did. But now, everything had changed. If he were to appear in front of her in his current state, he'd probably scare her to death. Lu Feng recalled his life as a human, then dove back into the sea and found a cave to hide in. He hadn't been out to hunt recently, and the food he had saved would last him for many days. He decided to send clone number 1 out to lure the terrifying beasts toward the cave, using it as bait to distract any threats. Then he settled into the cave, closed his eyes, and drifted into a deep sleep. "Don't worry about the great white shark or the green dragon. Just wait. I'll deal with you in time," he thought confidently before slipping into slumber. Meanwhile, at the number 1 steel fortress in Northern Dragon Kingdom, the fortress was nearly complete. National leaders had gathered to inspect it, and Chief Number 1 was thoroughly examining the gate and weapon systems, comparing them with the design drawings. "Chief, everything has been constructed exactly according to the drawings. No discrepancies," a senior officer reported. "Good. With the completion of the number 1 fortress here in the north, I can finally breathe easy," Chief Number 1 replied, flipping through the blueprints. "Chief, please follow me. Let's head inside the fortress and do a final check," the officer suggested. They walked through the fortress, observing its advanced weapons systems, which included automatic laser cannons, artillery, and a wide array of heavy automatic machine guns. "Chief, The weapon system has been assembled and is fully operational. It's equipped not only with various heavy weapons and cruise missiles, but also nuclear weapons. If those mutant creatures dare to attack, they won't be coming back, the officer said proudly. Excellent. How about the housing and biological supplies for the residents? The chief asked. All materials arrived a week ago, sir, enough to sustain 300 million people for 10 years. As for the housing, the officer hesitated. Chief Number 1 raised an eyebrow, sensing something was off. General Liu, just tell me, there's no one else here. Yes, Chief, General Liu responded. The residential area is only half constructed. Many refugees have entered the fortress, but their presence has delayed a lot of the construction. There's not much we can do about it. Oh! Show me! The chief commanded. Soon, they arrived at the residential area, and before them stood numerous tents of varying sizes. Chapter 14. Abyss Octopus. Only then did the leader and others understand what General Liu had meant. Not only had these refugees from various places refused to participate in the construction work, but they also rejected the government's plans entirely. Originally, these tents were meant to be used for constructing residential buildings, but now they were merely makeshift shelters. However, there was little the government could do to these refugees. After all, they were all citizens of the Dragon Kingdom. The chief went directly to the refugees, raised his voice, and said loudly, "Comrades, do you want to live in a proper building and have your own house?" The chief's words immediately captured the attention of the crowd. Upon realizing he was the number 1 leader of the Dragon Kingdom, the refugees quickly gathered around him. "Chief, of course we want to have our own house," the crowd responded. "Good. Since everyone wants it, roll up your sleeves and get to work. I promise that once the building is finished, every family will have their own home, free of charge." Chief Number 1 shouted as the crowd cheered. "Really? If it's true, we'll definitely do it," someone in the crowd exclaimed. "Yes! The chief promised us free houses. Let's get to work," another voice shouted. The crowd's enthusiasm surged once more. Then, the leader added, "Anyone with the strength to help, report to General Liu. Not only will you get your house first, but you'll also receive food. Long live the chief! Long live the Dragon Kingdom!" The crowd cheered, their spirits lifted. Leaders Number 2 and 3, who stood behind Chief Number 1, exchanged looks and silently nodded. Chief Number 1 had far more popular support than they did. The two of them couldn't help but admire him. General Liu, who had been observing, felt nothing but admiration for Chief Number 1, unsure of what to say in response. "What are you standing around for? Hurry up and start the construction while the iron is hot," Chief Number 1 ordered General Liu. "Right away, Chief. I'll get on it now," General Liu responded eagerly. Scene change. East China Sea. Lu Feng slowly woke up, his 8 tentacles wriggling as he stretched. Don't ask if octopuses have waists. They can stretch even without one. Hoo-hoo, feels so good. After sensing his surroundings and confirming there was no danger, he took out some food from his system backpack and started enjoying it. "Bro, I've just been hiding and evolving. What can you do about it?" Lu Feng chuckled as he showed off a mutated sea fish. Open black lens bracket. Ding! The host gains 300 energy points by consuming mutated mackerel. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Ding! The host gains 300 energy points by consuming mutated sea bass. Close black lens bracket. Over the next few days, Lu Feng simply ate and slept. Soon his energy points reached a total of 300,000. By this time, his food supply was running low, only enough to last another 2 days. "All right, time to evolve," Lu Feng said excitedly. His consciousness immediately sank into the evolutionary tree interface. 3 species were now available for evolution: Red-trained Octopus Lord, Abyss Octopus, and Demon Flame Octopus. These 3 species had distinct characteristics, and while Lu Feng couldn't see their exact skills and talents, he could judge them by their images. The red-trained Octopus Lord was entirely red and appeared to be a physical powerhouse. He dismissed this choice right away. It wasn't the right fit for him. The Demon Flame Octopus, with its body covered in blue flames, seemed to be a species focused on magical abilities, a path that didn't suit him either. He was a dual practitioner of both spiritual and physical abilities, and didn't want to deviate from that path by evolving into a purely magical creature. Finally, There was the Abyss Octopus. Though it didn't look particularly impressive on the outside, with dull gray-purple skin and no flashy features, it had an extra eye in the middle of its forehead, which signaled it was a spiritual-type creature. This one's the right choice for me, Lu Feng decided firmly. Open black lens bracket. Ding! You have met the requirements to evolve into Abyss Octopus. Do you wish to spend 100,000 energy points to evolve? Close black lens bracket. Yes, evolve, Lu Feng immediately confirmed. With a powerful explosion of energy, the enormous force of the evolution surged through his body, blowing apart the cave where he had been hiding. The overwhelming energy enveloped his massive body, creating a layer of purple energy around him. The energy from this evolution was so intense that it was felt by all creatures within thousands of miles. At that moment, the giant white sharks, green dragons, and giant turtles from the east, south, and north all simultaneously turned their attention toward him. Well, another superlord has been born, the giant turtle murmured. It then stopped observing and began contemplating deeply. 4 superlords had emerged in their sea area in such a short span of time, and the giant turtle feared that their territory might soon be insufficient to accommodate them all. It was already strategizing on how to handle the impending conflict. Previously, the East China Sea was controlled by 3 superlords, with the mutated blue dragon being slightly weaker than the others. Lu Feng's location lay in the neutral zone, situated between the territories of the 3 lords. It was a region neither too large nor too small, a natural buffer zone. Dozens of minutes passed, and the violent evolutionary energy gradually dissipated, forming a massive purple energy ball that hung suspended in the water. No creature dared approach it. 3 days later, the first signs of life began to stir as weak creatures cautiously returned to the area. The purple energy ball slowly cracked open, and a series of clicking noises rang out. Puff! A massive gray-purple tentacle emerged from the energy ball, the suction cups on the tentacle pulling in the surrounding energy as though it were water. An octopus, now 120 meters long with gray-purple skin and 3 eyes on its head, finally emerged from the energy ball. This was none other than Lu Feng. The evolution had completely transformed him into a creature unlike anything on Earth. After spending a moment adjusting to his new body, he realized that his sensing range had expanded to a staggering 5,000 kilometers. He immediately located the giant turtle within his sensory range and settled into his new form, ready to grow and evolve further. Open black lens bracket. Ding! Would you like to use 100,000 energy points to grow to adulthood? Close black lens bracket. Yes, Lu Feng quickly confirmed. Open black lens bracket. Ding! Would you like to use 100,000 energy points to grow to adulthood? Close black lens bracket. Yes, absolutely. After completing 2 stages of growth, Lu Feng consumed the remaining food in his backpack, filling himself up as much as possible. He then tossed aside the mutated Kanglong skeleton, took a bone spur, and began to pick his teeth with satisfaction. This Kanglong doesn't even eat. It's gone before I'm full, Lu Feng commented, clearly content. Now it was time to check his attribute page. Most of his talents and skills had undergone changes, and he couldn't wait to see what new abilities he had acquired. Chapter 15. The Evolver of Humanity. Open black lens bracket. Name: Lu Feng. Close black lens bracket. Species: Abyssal Octopus. Bloodline: Rare level, Advanced. Gender: Male. Age: 1 month, 150 years. Status: Mature/peak stage. Weight: 120 tons, 150 tons. Power: 600 tons, 750 tons. Speed: 240 meters per second, 300 meters per second. Defense: 120 tons endurance, 150 tons endurance. Skills: color-changing camouflage, deadly venom, high-pressure water cannon, flash technique, phantom clone, death whip. Talents: advanced regeneration, advanced precognition, detection technique, almighty sensing. Episode of spiritual illusion, spiritual assimilation. Open black lens bracket. Energy points: 52,000. Close black lens bracket. After reading the attribute page, Lu Feng was still very satisfied. This evolution not only improved the basic attributes, but the most important thing is that the measurement unit became tons. There is also an additional skill and talent, and regeneration has also evolved into advanced regeneration. Talent name: spiritual assimilation. Talent type: passive auxiliary. Talent introduction. Can subtly assimilate the spiritual thinking of other creatures, allowing you to identify with you, praise you, and even worship you. What the hell kind of talent is this? It's not a combat type, it's purely an auxiliary type? What is the use of assimilating other people's spiritual thinking? It's not just instant assimilation, it's a talent. Lu Feng complained madly in his heart. The system swallowed 300,000 of his energy points to evolve this kind of rubbish talent for me, a black businessman and profiteer. Skill name, Death Whiplash. Skill type, active combat skills. Skill introduction. Instantly strengthen your own tentacles, increasing their strength by 10 times and causing damage 10 times your own strength. This skill is good. Now I have 60 tons of power. If I use this move, I can do 600 tons of damage. Why is there still a peak period? Lu Feng wondered. After looking at my energy points, I only had 52,000. It was not enough to grow and evolve again, so I had to give up temporarily. It's time to replenish his food supply. All the passive food storage has been exhausted by him. Just when he was about to hunt, a human team appeared in his induction. This team was obviously heading towards the seaside. Under the circumstances of Blue Star's great evolution, humans no longer dared to use aircraft unscrupulously. The evolved creatures in the sky can now tear apart steel aircraft at will, so walking on the ground is safer. From what he sensed, there were a total of 6 people in this team, all of whom were strong and well-equipped. Don't rush to hunt now. Let's see what this group of humans is planning to do, Lu Feng said in his heart. His sensing range has reached 5,000 kilometers. But Blue Star has also doubled in size, so he can only sense a small part of the land in Dragon Kingdom. Captain, how long until we get there? Asked the second member of the human team. We should be there soon, it's about an hour away, the middle-aged captain replied. They said that the turtle is willing to cooperate with us humans. Is this credible? I always feel that these evolved animals are not good things. The second team member continued. No matter what, if we can reach a cooperative relationship with a deep-sea superlord, it will be worth it, the captain said firmly. Alas, once these evolved and mutated animals break through the 3rd level of evolution, they can ignore most thermal weapons. It's really speechless. We humans only have the highest level of level 2 evolvers, which is far from comparable. Walking on the 3rd level, the 3 team members sighed. Who says otherwise? Animals are born with evolutionary advantages. Once they reach level 3, their IQ will be no lower than that of humans. Level 4 can even communicate with their minds. It's so abnormal. The team member at the end also complained. Okay, just concentrate on your journey and don't forget our mission this time, the captain said. The few people immediately stopped talking and focused on their way. Lu Feng could tell from the conversation between these people that the old turtle seemed to want to cooperate with humans. Moreover, these people seemed to be human evolvers. What other evolutionary levels are there, 3rd and 4th? Lu Feng doesn't know much about the definition of this level division as mentioned by humans, but he has evolved 4 times. I don't know which level counts. No matter what, let's go hunting first. Then he rushed to the northern area with 3 clones. This is the territory of ancient mutated great white shark, but this guy's territory does have a lot of resources. On the way, he found that his 3 clones had also transformed into the trumpet Abyss Octopus, and their attributes had also become stronger. Although his size has not increased significantly this time, his strength, speed, and defense have still increased significantly. The so-called concentration is the essence. There is nothing wrong with it. In less than an hour, he arrived at the territory of the great white shark. The shellfish here had become larger again. The shellfish that were 2 or 3 meters in the past had become 5 or 6 meters. It seems that everyone is evolving, but it was just enough to be used as his own food. And then he controlled the clone to start catching shellfish for him. He himself keeps showing off these shellfish desserts. His 8 tentacles are stronger than steel whips, and each blow can break the shells of shellfish creatures. These shells were as fragile as paper in front of Lu Feng. Open black lens bracket. Ding! The host gets 500 energy points by swallowing the ancient Tridacna. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Ding! The host gets 400 energy points by swallowing deep sea mutated conch. Close black lens bracket. While eating, he used his sensor to monitor the great white shark, the lord of this sea area. At this time, the great white shark seemed to be sleeping on the bottom of the sea. "We have to find a way to kill this big guy." Lu Feng showed a cold expression. "Last time I was chased by this guy like a dog, and several of his clones were destroyed. This revenge must be avenged. But there are risks in confronting him head-on, so you have to find a way to trick this guy." As he ate his shellfish feast, he thought about how to kill the other person. After a few minutes, he came up with a feasible plan. Since the opponent was a big fish, he had to throw out the bait to catch it. Then he began to concentrate on eating, accumulating energy points, and preparing to evolve and grow to his peak before executing this combat plan. In the southern sea, a giant turtle more than 200 meters long was standing in front of a group of humans. "Your Majesty Jugui, my name is Li Minglong. I have been ordered to come to discuss cooperation with you," the captain said, suppressing the fear in his heart. The 5 team members behind him were trembling with fear and unable to think. This was the first time they had seen such a terrifying giant beast. How could this be a turtle? "This is called Xuanwu. They all believe it. Humans, this time I want to cooperate with you humans on the spiritual reign. I wonder if you can bring sincerity." A loud noise came from the mouth of the giant turtle. Chapter 16. A bloody battle with the great white shark. If you had seen a giant turtle speaking human words just a few years ago, you would have thought it had become a spirit. The 1,000-year-old king and the 80,000-year-old turtle. The turtle spirit, Tilda. The immense creature before them left everyone in shock, even causing the captain's brain to short-circuit for a moment. Once the captain regained his composure, he was drenched in cold sweat. This was the kind of fear that lower-level creatures feel when facing higher-level beings. Something that no human could resist. "Your Excellency, giant turtle, please take a look." The captain pulled out a large bottle from his backpack and opened it. A stream of life essence poured out from the bottle, filling the air with a scent that seemed to promise immortality. Without a word, the giant turtle inhaled the essence from the bottle and appeared to savor it, clearly enjoying the taste. The team members stood silently, not daring to speak, waiting for the giant turtle's reaction. After a moment, the giant turtle spoke again. "Very good. I can feel humanity's sincerity. I will protect your 2 southern fortresses. Simply place these 2 items on the outer walls. They will shield the fortress and protect it." Everyone watched in awe as 2 enormous scales fell to the ground. Each scale was over 2 meters long, radiating the powerful aura of the giant turtle. The captain, his face lighting up with joy, said, "We are honored to cooperate with you. This is our special communication device. If you need to contact us, just press the red button." Captain Lai handed over a communication device, about half a meter in size, to the giant turtle. Due to the drastic changes on Blue Star, most satellites were now useless. This communication device was a recent invention by the Dragon Kingdom, capable of global calls. With a whoosh, the communication device flew into the giant turtle's ear. "By the way, creatures above level 4 will not be deterred by these scales, but I sense that there are no level 5 beings yet. Next time the spiritual rain comes, make sure to collect more of it and give it to me." "Understood? No problem. Since we are partners, we will adhere to our trade principles." The captain nodded. With that, the giant turtle said no more, turned, and left. The team immediately began stroking the scales as if they had found a priceless treasure. One of them said, "Captain, you're amazing! You were able to speak so confidently in front of such a being. We were all so terrified, we couldn't think straight." The others nodded in agreement, and Captain Lee gave a helpless smile. "I used a bit of a sharp technique to stabilize myself, or I wouldn't have been able to say a word." The others looked sheepish. Then, the 6 team members carried the scales and made their way back to the steel fortress. The 2 southern fortresses of the Dragon Kingdom were now under the protection of the giant Turtle King, and this news spread quickly across the world. Although communication had become inconvenient, it didn't mean messages couldn't still be transmitted. The Dragon Kingdom's method gave other nations hope. As long as they could ally with king-level creatures, they too could be protected and survive in a stable manner. Soon, other countries followed suit, though not many king-level creatures were willing to cooperate with humans. Most saw humans as either prey or enemies. However, a few countries managed to find protectors. For example, Sakura Country was under the protection of the 3-headed Snake King, Lighthouse Country was protected by the Golden Lion King, and Big Hair Country was guarded by the Iron Bear King. The scene shifts to the East China Sea, where Lu Feng is deep beneath the ocean, preparing to evolve and grow. After eating for some time, his energy points had reached 160,000. He had hunted many shellfish and fish, storing enough food for about a month. The sea is so comfortable, there's a constant supply of food, and it's so easy to catch. Delicious tilde, Lu Feng mused. Ding! Would you like to use 100,000 energy points to grow to your peak? Yes! 10 seconds later, his body rapidly expanded to 200 meters, and all his basic attributes reached their maximum. He consumed a full meal of rations. And soon, the hunger faded. It's time to deal with that great white shark, Lu Feng thought to himself. 2 hours later, he arrived just 300 kilometers away from the great white shark and began studying the terrain. It was the perfect spot for an ambush. His body slowly turned gray and earthy, blending in perfectly with the seafloor. His camouflage was so realistic that even a close inspection wouldn't reveal anything out of the ordinary. Meanwhile, his 3 clones made their way toward the great white shark's location, still carrying the scent of blood. He directed the clones to stop 200 kilometers away from the shark. The purpose of placing them at this extreme distance was to lure the great white shark closer. Now, Lu Feng was confident he could seriously injure or even kill the shark in one swift strike. Once a creature reaches level 3, evolution slows down significantly, and level 4 creatures evolve even more slowly. If Lu Feng wanted to evolve again, he would need 1 million energy points, a sum he couldn't gather in a short period. He could earn tens of thousands of energy points a day, meaning it would take at least 20 days to reach the required 1 million. Additionally, for further evolution, he would need energy points for 3 more growth stages, totaling 4 million points. Looks like I'll have to take it slow, Lu Feng said with a sigh. Soon, the great white shark caught the scent it recognized, the giant octopus it had devoured earlier. But something felt strange. Why did this octopus smell the same as the last one? The great white shark dismissed the thought. If anything dared to enter its territory, it must be dealt with. Lu Feng sensed the shark's approach and smiled coldly to himself. It had taken the bait. He moved the clones closer to the main body, keeping the shark at a distance. The great white shark, noticing the clones moving away, accelerated and charged toward them. The distance of 300 kilometers was nothing for such a massive creature. Moments later, the great white shark caught up to the clones. Its massive form loomed beneath them. The shark eyed the 3 purple-gray octopuses in front of it, revealing its sharp teeth. These octopuses were larger than the ones it had eaten before, each about 70 meters long, perfect for its next meal. Lu Feng activated his detection technique on the shark. Name: Ancient Mutated Great White Shark. Bloodline: Mutated Atavism. Gender: Female. Status: Mature stage. Weight: 120 tons. Power: 300 tons. Speed: 200 meters per second. Defense: 100 tons. Endurance. Skills: Crash, Tail Strike, Deadly Bite, Swallow. Talent: Behemoth Pressure. The shark had grown larger and matured from its youth stage, its attributes improving, though not surpassing Lu Feng at his peak. His strength alone was double that of the shark, and its speed and defense were weaker. With this advantage, Lu Feng felt confident in his ability to defeat the beast, though he would remain cautious and prepared for battle. Chapter 17. The Great White Shark Gets a Box Lunch. Suddenly, the great white shark lunged at one of its clones. But the 3 clones didn't retreat. Instead, they charged forward together. The great white shark bit down on clone number 3, tearing off half of its body. However, clone number 3 didn't back down. It shot out a few tentacles, striking the shark's body. While these attacks couldn't inflict serious damage, they still caused the shark considerable pain. As long as their brains remained intact, the clones could survive, and clone number 3 continued attacking despite its injuries. At the same time, clone number 1 and clone number 2 charged forward, lashing out with their tentacles. The constant barrage of attacks was starting to wear on the great white shark, forcing it to release clone number 3 and focus on the other 2 clones. Boom! The great white shark swung its tail, knocking clone number 1 aside, and then struck clone number 2 with another powerful blow. It seemed to be determined to finish off the injured clone number 3 first. Unfortunately for the shark, These clones were limited to basic physical attacks and lacked any special abilities. Pfft. The shark sank its teeth into clone number 3 again, this time tearing it apart completely. Lu Feng felt a sharp pain in his mind as he lost control of clone number 3. "Oh, you're really addicted to biting, aren't you?" Lu Feng muttered in frustration. He immediately commanded the remaining clones to attack from different directions. The shark's skin was now red and swollen from their relentless strikes. Although breaking the shark's defenses was impossible, causing it pain was still a victory. The battle between the clones and the great white shark raged on, with massive waves from their struggle affecting the nearby sea creatures. The sounds of the clash soon reached 2 nearby superlords, who quickly turned their attention to the fight. Creatures of this level had intelligence comparable to, or even greater than, humans. The giant turtle and the green dragon both set off toward the scene, not to join the battle, but to see if they could take advantage of the situation. Even if they couldn't find an opportunity to strike, they hoped to assess the great white shark's strength. Both were 4th-tier lords, but neither was foolish enough to test the shark's power directly, so the delicate standoff remained. Meanwhile, the great white shark was growing increasingly furious. These weak octopuses kept attacking it, and every time it tried to bite one, another clone disrupted it. The shark's eyes turned red with rage. A moment later, a fierce presence surged in the great white shark's mind. "Damn octopus, you've crossed the line. Do you really think I don't have limits?" The 2 clones had truly pushed the shark to its breaking point, all thanks to Lu Feng's careful control. He used his third-party perspective to keep the shark off balance, attacking from multiple angles and predicting the shark's movements. The shark had a powerful move called Swallow, but it would consume a lot of energy, so it was waiting for the perfect opportunity. Frustrated, the shark sent out a telepathic message, demanding that the octopuses leave its territory and never return. But the 2 clones ignored the message, continuing their relentless assault. "Damn it! You're asking for death!" the shark roared. Suddenly, it opened its massive mouth, releasing a powerful suction force. "Go to hell!" the shark bellowed, unleashing a wave of terrifying suction. The clones tried to retreat, but their bodies refused to obey. They were helplessly sucked toward the shark's gaping mouth. "Ha ha! Now you'll learn the price of angering me," the shark laughed arrogantly. In an instant, the clones and the surrounding water were drawn into the shark's mouth. Lu Feng felt 2 waves of pain as the clones were pulled into the shark's maw. The 2 distant superlords, sensing the immense power of the shark's attack, grew even more fearful. It seemed that the shark was now practically unscathed, leaving them unsure of how to proceed. Just as the 2 giant creatures were about to leave, they noticed something strange. The great white shark had stopped moving. What happened? It had been so arrogant just a moment ago, but now it was completely still? Lu Feng, hiding at the bottom of the sea, smiled. "You walked right into my trap." Now it was time to implement his next phase of the plan. The goal was to strike the shark with a lethal blow before it could react. If the shark managed to escape, it would be an endless nightmare for Lu Feng. He had 3 ways to kill the shark. The first was to bite into its abdomen and inject it with lethal venom, but that wouldn't kill it instantly. The second was using his death whip, but it might miss the vital points. So that left only one option: the high-pressure water cannon. Lu Feng grinned, eager to try it out. "All right, time to give you a dozen rounds," he said with a wicked smile. Streams of water began to form in his mouth, each one building pressure. Soon, it reached maximum force. "Weapons ready! Aiming complete! Water flow is stable. All systems normal, ready to fire." Lu Feng's other heads reported in unison. "Here we go! Fire!" Lu Feng commanded. Whoosh! A dozen thick water arrows shot out at the great white shark, their force creating massive sonic booms in the water. Puff, puff! The shark's body was pummeled by the water arrows. Its brain and jaw were shattered, leaving a massive bloody hole. The great white shark didn't even have time to scream before it was finished. First blood, Lu Feng thought to himself with satisfaction. Chapter 18. First contact with humans. The 2 other superlords in the distance were in shock. Moments ago, they had witnessed dozens of water arrows shoot out from the depths of the sea, instantly killing the enormous great white shark. They hadn't even been able to detect who had launched these water arrows, and a chilling sensation spread through their hearts. This great white shark had been their equal in power, but it had been killed so easily. Was there a level 5 creature lurking on the seabed? Impossible! If there were a level 5 creature, they would have sensed it already. They were too confused to act, so they could only continue to observe. Boo-hoo tilled! 3 octopus clones suddenly materialized, swiftly swimming toward the great white shark's body to drag it down into the depths. In an instant, the shark's massive 200-meter-long body vanished, leaving only a faint trace of blood fading slowly in the water. The 2 giant beasts, terrified by what they had just witnessed, immediately turned and fled. Something terrifying lurked beneath the sea. The great white shark had just disappeared without a trace. Though these 2 creatures were not as large, they were far more dangerous. As the giant turtle fled, a wave of fear overwhelmed him. What kind of monster could be hiding there? Even a level 4 creature felt like an ant in its presence. Was level 5 really that horrifying? As legendary beasts that had evolved to level 4, they had inherited memories of past ages. They knew something of level 5 creatures, but what they had just seen was beyond their comprehension. Both beasts marked this sea area as a restricted zone, deciding that no one under level 6 should venture near it. In reality, the great white shark had simply been stored in Lu Feng's system backpack, and the rest was the work of the 2 oversized beasts. Open black lens bracket, ding! Congratulations, host! You've completed the Tide Comes survival mission. You've earned 200 energy points. Close black lens bracket. The system's voice broke Lu Feng's thoughts. He remembered he still had a mission to complete. Damn! I just killed the ultimate boss, and now you tell me I've finished a side quest in Novice Village? Lu Feng mentally complained, frustrated by the system's quirks. The system's latest reward of 20 energy points made him sigh. Mosquito meat is still meat, I suppose. He'd already written off the system as unreliable, and vowed never to trust it again. Open black lens bracket, ding! The host is required to evolve to level 5 before the next energy revival. Upon completion, you will receive a bloodline enhancement potion. Countdown to the second spiritual energy revival. 33 days, 7 hours, 22 minutes. Close black lens bracket. Wait. What's this about another mission? Lu Feng raised an eyebrow. A spiritual energy revival? What is that? He wondered aloud. The new mission offered a much better reward. A bloodline enhancement potion. He already had one in his backpack, along with a talent enhancement potion, but neither had been of any use so far. Since he hadn't faced any serious challenges yet, he hadn't needed to use them. With 33 days remaining, he wasn't in a rush, but the mention of the spiritual energy revival caught his attention. It must be a significant event. According to the law of Dwarf Demos, created by the author, if he didn't reach level 5 before the second energy revival, he might lose out on a number of opportunities. This could include losing access to rare materials, energy points, or even his own life. Lu Feng decided he would stay ahead of the game and make the system regret underestimating him. Let's go, Missy Tilde, he said, removing his disguise and heading toward the distant sea. He now saw the northern sea as his personal domain. No level 4 creature dared approach. For the next 3 days, he lived a carefree life. Dear Lang! Tilde dear Lang! Tilde, the crunchy screw smell! Lu Feng murmured to himself as he hid in a rocky spot, tossing a mutated conch into his mouth. While chewing, he pondered why the giant turtle had chosen to cooperate with humans a few days ago. If it had been Lu Feng himself, there might have been some reason for cooperation, considering his human soul. But the turtle was an evolved wild animal. It shouldn't have been willing to work with humans. What did it know? Lu Feng could never ask the giant turtle directly, and even if he did, the turtle might not share its secrets. However, there was another way to find out. Capture a few humans and interrogate them. So he took actions. He sent clone number 1 to lie in wait near the coast, ready for the humans' arrival. 2 days later, an evolutionary team appeared, their energy signatures detectable to Lu Feng. The team consisted of 10 people, 2 of whom had notably stronger life forces. Lu Feng directed clone number 1 to approach stealthily. This time, our goal is the giant ape tribe in the southern forest. We must steal the spiritual wine they brew. Understood? A middle-aged man said. Understood, Captain. The rest of the team responded excitedly. The spiritual wine brewed by the giant apes was highly prized. Not only did it accelerate one's evolution, but it also fetched astronomical prices on the black market. The only obstacle was the apes themselves. Just as the team was discussing, a massive shadow appeared in their path, blocking the sunlight and casting an overwhelming sense of dread. The shadow's owner was an enormous purple-gray octopus, dozens of meters tall. "Shh! Don't move! Get ready!" the captain whispered, alarmed. Out of the 10 team members, only the captain and vice-captain were level 2 evolvers. The others were all level 1, no match for such a colossal beast. Seeing their reactions, Lu Feng had clone number 1 pick up a wooden stick and awkwardly write a message on the ground. It was difficult to write with his tentacles, and the result was a crooked, barely legible sentence. He then pointed at a female team member beside the captain, but she was too frightened to move. Lu Feng sighed. Was his clone really that intimidating? In mock frustration, he slammed his tentacle against the ground and pointed at a male team member standing nearby. "Xiaohu, this octopus seems to want you to come forward," the captain said nervously. "Ah, Captain, my legs, they're cramping," the young man responded, his voice filled with panic. Chapter 19. I can't understand the alien text you wrote. At this point, Lu Feng was getting frustrated. What a coward! Was it really so difficult for you to read the sentence I wrote? In his anger, he swiftly used his tentacles to tie up the little tiger and placed him directly in front of the words he had written on the ground. "Don't eat me! Don't eat me! My meat smells awful!" Xiaohu shouted in panic. Covering his eyes with both hands, he refused to look at the giant octopus. When he gathered the courage to open his eyes, he realized he was still standing on solid ground, very much alive. He glanced back at the enormous octopus, and the sight left him dumbfounded. "Xiaohu, the octopus wants you to look at the ground. Do it quickly!" the captain called out nervously. "Ah, tilde. Oh, tilde." Xiaohu finally looked down. Sure enough, there were symbols that resembled text on the ground. After staring at them for a while, Xiaohu looked back at the octopus with a helpless expression. "Uncle Octopus, I can't understand this alien writing. Can we switch to the writing of the Dragon Kingdom?" Lu Feng couldn't help but sigh. How long do you need to look at it before you understand? He controlled clone number 1 to write again, more clearly this time. "Why do you want to cooperate with the giant turtle?" He added a question mark at the end, just to make sure this time. Xiaohu stared at the new message. After reading it, he realized that the octopus had written in the language of the Dragon Kingdom. Shocked, Xiaohu couldn't believe it. They knew that supergiant beasts could communicate through consciousness, but he hadn't expected them to write in the Dragon Kingdom's script. The octopus had written it smoothly, even if not perfectly. "Uncle Octopus, can you understand me?" Xiaohu asked cautiously. The clone nodded. Overjoyed, Xiaohu quickly said, "We humans need the protection of your giant beasts so that the lower level evolved and mutated beasts won't dare to invade our cities. Even other countries will be too afraid to attack us with your protection. But the country has made a mistake." The clone nodded again and then wrote another message on the ground. "What's the price?" "The price is that we need to provide the giant turtle with fine spiritual rain," Xiaohu replied eagerly. As Lu Feng read this, he began to piece things together, but he still needed to confirm some details. He wrote another sentence. "Where did you get this?" Since being reborn, he had spent most of his time in the sea, evolving and resting, unaware of what had happened to Blue Star in the meantime. "Octopus we collected this during the last global rainfall and purified it afterward," Xiaohu answered, explaining how they had obtained the fine spiritual rain. Lu Feng finally understood. He hadn't been part of the first great spiritual revival, but it seemed the giant turtle had gained huge benefits from humans during that event. "This old immortal is more cunning than I thought." No longer hiding, Lu Feng let his terrifying presence seep into the minds of the 10 humans around him. "Mortal, I am the Emperor of the Abyss. Do you humans wish to be protected by this Emperor?" Lu Feng boomed in a commanding tone. His words reverberated with power. The 10 humans were so shocked that they immediately knelt before clone number 1. "We are willing to be protected by the Emperor of the Abyss," they exclaimed in unison, bowing deeply. The captain, eager to please, said excitedly, "Please wait, Your Majesty. I'll contact the head of our fortress base right away. They'll definitely offer the exquisite spiritual rain to the Emperor." "Very well, I'll wait," Lu Feng replied, his voice dripping with authority. The captain immediately pulled out a communicator and contacted the fortress. Once they received the news, a special team was dispatched and rushed to deliver the spiritual rain. Lu Feng was able to transmit his consciousness instantly across a distance of up to 5,000 kilometers. Although he hadn't been able to use this ability in the sea, now it was incredibly convenient. A few hours later, the special team arrived. They were surprised to find the giant octopus before them. Though the octopus was massive, the pressure it exuded was nothing compared to the giant turtle they had previously encountered. Are you the Emperor of the Abyss?" asked Li Minglong, one of the team members. "Yes, I am. Did you bring the spiritual rain?" Lu Feng demanded. Li Minglong hesitated for a moment before asking, "Have you reached level 4? How dare you question this Emperor?" Lu Feng's voice thundered in outrage. He was determined to impress the humans. "How dare this human question me face to face? He must have courage." Li Minglong raised his hands in a respectful gesture. "Ahem! My apologies, Emperor. I've met the giant turtle king before, so I understand the pressure of a level 4 beast, but I didn't feel the same kind of pressure from you. That's why I asked." Lu Feng was taken aback. This human still isn't impressed by me? It seemed that his attempt to intimidate them had failed. Still, he didn't care too much. He wasn't here for their admiration. His goal was to gather information and maybe get some of that precious spiritual rain. If he couldn't, it didn't matter much. HMPH. Since you humans are not sincere, I will take my leave, Lu Feng said, turning to leave. The captain and the others watched in shock as the giant octopus swiftly departed. They hadn't even realized what had just happened. The captain sighed. "Captain Li, even if this octopus isn't level 4, it's still at the peak of level 3. Why push it? I didn't know it would just leave like that," Li Minglong muttered, clearly frustrated. Meanwhile, Lu Feng, now back at the bottom of the sea, was thinking about his next move. If he continued collecting energy points at his current pace, he would have accumulated 50,000 to 60,000 points each day. It had been 5 days, and there were still 28 days left until the second spiritual energy revival. By his calculations, he could amass over 1,000,000 points, but he would still need more for the upcoming growths. He decided to check his properties page to see where he stood. Name: Lu Feng. Species: Abyssal Octopus. Bloodline: Rare Level, Advanced. Gender: Male. Age: 1 month, 150 years. Status: Peak period/peak period. Weight: 150 tons. 150 tons. Power: 750 tons, 750 tons. Speed: 300 meters per second. 300 meters per second. Defense: 150 tons endurance. 150 tons endurance. Skills: color-changing camouflage, deadly venom, high-pressure water cannon, flash technique, phantom clone, death whip. Talents: advanced regeneration, advanced precognition, detection technique, almighty sensing, episode of spiritual illusion, spiritual assimilation. Energy points: 475,000. Looks like I need to find a way to make something big happen, Lu Feng muttered to himself as he began to strategize. Chapter 20. Lu Feng's choice. Lu Feng quickly decided to focus on accumulating energy points through the consumption of larger, more rewarding prey. For now, he would avoid small fish and shellfish and aim for bigger meals. He approached the carcass of an ancient mutated great white shark, a powerful creature, and began devouring it without hesitation. Open black lens bracket, ding. The host devours ancient mutated great white shark and gains 1,500 energy points. Close black lens bracket. Lu Feng was pleased to see the 1,500 energy points he gained, which was much more than he would have gotten from smaller creatures. This approach would allow him to accumulate a significant amount of energy quickly. If he continued eating one large meal a day, he could amass 2.8 million energy points in 28 days, which was a substantial amount. However, his goal was 4 million energy points, so he knew he would need additional plans. One option was to hunt even stronger creatures, but that came with high risk. Lu Feng was aware of the formidable green dragon and the giant turtle, both of which were incredibly powerful. He had already noticed them observing the battle with the great white shark, so he was cautious about challenging them. The second option was to seek out rare natural treasures, like the fine spiritual rain that humans possessed. Such treasures could greatly boost his energy points. Do I really need to reveal my true identity and scare them? Lu Feng thought to himself, weighing the options. He could either make a direct deal with the humans, or continue searching for resources in the ocean. Ultimately, he decided that negotiating with the humans was a safer choice, offering a guaranteed way to secure the fine spiritual rain. With this decision made, Lu Feng prepared to make his move. He planned to make a dramatic entrance to impress the humans and ensure they would cooperate with him. After all, his ultimate goal was to acquire the resources he needed. As he neared the shore, he sensed the presence of a large steel fortress. Fortress number 1, situated in the northern region of the Dragon Kingdom. This fortress was close to his territory and had recently completed construction. Inside the fortress, the leaders were holding a meeting. Report! Fortress number 1 has been fully constructed, and we've faced 172 attacks by level 1 evolved beasts and 26 attacks by level 2 beasts. All have been repelled successfully, one officer reported. Leader number 3 responded, "Great work, but it seems like the attacks are intensifying." Leader number 2 sighed. "In the south, they have the protection of the giant Turtle King. We have no such luck here in the north." Chief number 1 added, "Yes, the southern fortresses benefit from the Turtle King's protection, while we only have the Tiger King nearby, and he is much harder to handle." The mention of the Tiger King immediately caught Lu Feng's attention. This was a level 4 beast, and he saw it as an opportunity. Compared to oceanic beast kings, land-based beast kings were generally weaker. And with his new abilities as an abyss octopus, Lu Feng felt confident in challenging this Tiger King. However, before making any plans to confront the Tiger King, Lu Feng decided to first reach out to the humans. He sent a message directly into their minds. "Mortal! I am the Emperor of the Abyss. Do you desire protection from this Emperor?" Lu Feng's voice echoed in their minds. The leaders of the fortress were immediately struck with fear. Chief number 1 was the first to respond. "Who are you? What kind of creature are you?" A vision of a giant octopus with 3 eyes filled their minds, and the overwhelming presence of Lu Feng caused them to freeze in place. After a moment of silence, Chief number 1 gathered his courage and spoke. "Great Emperor, we are willing to accept your protection. What do you require from us?" Lu Feng replied, "I require spiritual rain, a great amount of it." "Understood. We will provide it." Chief number 1 immediately agreed. "Where are you located?" Lu Feng responded, 500 kilometers to the east. I shall await your arrival." The leaders quickly mobilized a team to meet the Emperor of the Abyss, instructing them to be respectful and cautious. Among the team was a young scientist named Xiaoya, who had recently secured permission to join the mission, despite the danger. "We can't let anything happen to her," Captain Fang muttered, worried about the risks. However, Xiaoya was excited about the opportunity to meet the level 4 Beast King, hoping it would benefit her research. A few hours later, the team arrived 500 kilometers east. As evolvers, they were able to cover the distance with ease. Captain Fang halted the group and raised a hand to signal them to stop. Before them stood an enormous figure, a massive octopus, its presence both awe-inspiring and terrifying. The group was now face-to-face with Lu Feng, the Emperor of the Abyss, and they knew that their encounter with him would be a turning point for the future of their world.